الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله
Islam in Focus is brought to you by Gala Travels. For all your travel needs, call Gala Travels at 416-491-5314 or visit galatravels.com. Islam in Focus is brought to you by PortServe International Limited, providing cargo handling services internationally. Please visit portserve.com. Islam in Focus is brought to you by Five Ways Financial, free consultation at no obligation. Visit fiveways.com. Islam in Focus is brought to you by eShipper.com, allowing its customers to ship and save on all shipping requirements.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء وخاتم المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا بالقاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. I begin in the name of God, the kind and merciful, and I ask for the special blessings of Almighty God upon Prophet Muhammad and his holy progeny. Dear viewers, Salamun Alaikum, peace be upon all of you. This is the fourth and the final segment of our talk on raising a godly child from the Islamic perspective. Our entire discussion was based on the saying of Prophet Muhammad, where he says, Al-waladu sayyidun sab'a sinin, wa abdun sab'a sinin, wa wazirun sab'a sinin, which means that a child is the master for the first 7 years, and then the child is a slave for the next 7 years, and finally, in the last segment of the upraising of the child is the minister. When we look at this famous saying of the Prophet, we come to realize that the Prophet Muhammad was able to convey very complex psychological ideas and concepts to the people who were illiterate, and many of them who lived as Bedouins in the Arabian desert. Let me summarize our previous discussion before we move on to the final segment of our talk. In the first stage of upraising the child has been described by the Prophet Muhammad as the master. And this is the preschool era where the Prophet is saying that let your child be a child. At this first stage of raising a child from birth to age 7, the emphasis was on tarbiyat, which means on character building, providing a positive role model, because we have to realize that children see and hear from the parents, siblings, and elders, and whatever they see and hear, that actually forms their character. In the second stage of raising a child, the Prophet Muhammad said that the child is the slave. The term slave here, used in a figurative sense, is emphasizing that now that the child has started and gone into the elementary school years, you have to be more vigilant. The tarbiyyat, the character building process, has to continue in the second stage of the raising of the child, but now you also have to include the formal education, whether it's in secular issues or religious issues. The most important point that I would like to mention here before we talk about the final and the third stage of raising a child is the issue of interdependency of these stages. No parents should ever expect that they will be able to raise their children in the third stage from age 15 to 21 in a perfect way if they have not done their homework in the first and the second stages of raising a child. If you as a parent have not done your work in the first two stages, then don't expect a miracle when things go wrong in the third stage. You know, there is no magic wand or a pill or a lucky charm with any alim or mullah or amil or jotshi or a holy man for curing the ills of the third stage if the parents did not do their own homework in the first and the second stage of raising a child. And so let us now, go to the third stage of raising a child when the child is from age 15 to 21, when the child is in the high school and the early years of college and university. Prophet Muhammad described the final stage of raising a child as the stage in which your child is the minister. He uses the term wazir. This description of a child as a wazir, a minister, in the third stage of raising the child is very beautiful. In a sense, it shows the relationship between the parents and their children. The parents are basically like the king and the queen, and the child is like the minister. And this description used by the Prophet highlights two issues. Number one, it clarifies the hierarchy, that even though the child is now in high school or early years of college and university, the hierarchy is still very clear. The parents are still in charge. And the second point, which this term minister highlights, is that the parents should realize that their child is no more a minor. He is now going into the third phase of his life as your child. And in that third phase, you have to treat your child like a king or a queen would treat their minister. A minister is not just a low-status clerk to be ordered around for errands only. No, the parents now, as king and queen, for example, when they want to talk with their children, they have to basically sit down, talk, and discuss the issues and guide the child to make the right decision under your guidance and under your wisdom. This is how the child basically will be trained to make their own wise decisions in their adulthood when they reach into the age of 21 plus. And so remember that when we talk about the third stage, the issue of upbringing and tarbiyat is concerned, we have to realize that from the Islamic perspective, the child is now entering adulthood. In the secular system, the age 15 to 21 is described as the age of youth age or adolescence. Islam actually considers this age to be the age of responsibility and being accountable in the eyes of God. Actually, from the Islamic perspective, a child in that stage from 15 onwards is an adult and a responsible person in the eyes of God and society. The most fundamental issue in this third stage of raising a child is the issue of the mindset that you have formed for your child. Almighty God has created in our body 4 levels, and this is just a very simplistic way of looking at things, but my purpose is to make things as simple as possible. There are 4 levels when we look at ourselves. There is the first level, the level of the mind. Then there is the second level, the level of the heart. Then there is the third level, the level of the belly. And then comes the 4th level of the private parts. And as parents and as a community, many times we look at the needs of the 3rd and the 4th levels of our children, and then we think of fulfilling those needs on their own. Whereas we do not realize that there has to be a very strong connection between the 3rd and the 4th levels of our being with the 1st level, and that is our mind and our attitude and our perspective about life. For example, look at the needs of the 3rd level, which is the belly. When we look at that and we say, okay, what is the need of the belly? A child, for example, is hungry and thirsty. And so immediately we say, okay, provide food and drink. And if you provide the food and drink, it would take care of the 3rd level of the human being. But you have to realize, that not just any food or drink would be the right answer to take care of the needs of the 3rd level of a person. No, there are other issues that you have to you have to consider also. For example, what kind of food are you going to provide to your child? Is the food going to be healthy or unhealthy? Is it going to be halal or haram? Which is religiously acceptable or forbidden? Is it going to be a food which is considered to be pure from the Islamic perspective, or is it an impure substance? Or is the food itself legitimate or not? It has been acquired from the means which are acceptable in our faith as well as in our society or not. So these are the questions which can only be dealt with if we look at the needs of the third level, in coordination with the first level, and that is the wisdom of the mind of a person. So my point is that, we cannot take care of for example, the problems of the belly, or the problems of the private part, of other needs of our children at that stage, just in isolation. We have to link that with the mindset that our children have at that time. For example, when we talk about, another example, when we talk about the issue of marriage, just the marriage cannot be simply solved by saying, okay, the first boy or girl that is our children would see in the college or the campus, and they like them, and that is the solution to the problem. No, there are many, many other issues which have to be taken into consideration. It's not just the physical looks, or the girl is beautiful or the boy is handsome. No, there are other issues which play a very important role in selection of a spouse for our child. For example, the faith and religion will come up. There will be a lot of tension if the husband and wife are not on the same page as far as their perspective for life, the purpose of life, and faith and religion is concerned. And so when we have to look at the character of the person, the background of the person, and not just the looks and the physical beauty would be the right answer. And this is where there has to be a coordination between all parts of our body and the needs that a person has with the first level, and that is the level of the mind. And so, for example, when we talk about the problems of our youths in their third stage of upbringing from 15 to 21, we hear about many issues discussed in Muslim communities, from the issues of hijab or lack of hijab or pointless hijab, or the issue of immodest and revealing clothes. Sometimes we hear about the issues of friendship between boys and girls, and they're going to the dance parties, or even the issue of alcohol and drug addiction, to things which are haram, forbidden, and doubtful from the Islamic perspective, even from the perspective of the laws of the land. And so when we look at all these issues, we have to realize that many times the parents as well as the community, they look at the problem singularly and separately. We do not realize that we have to take a holistic approach, and only then we will realize that the actual key to all the problems that the young person has is the mind and the mental outlook of the person. If you are able to raise your child with a proper mindset, a mind which is anchored to the values of Almighty God, Prophet Muhammad, and the Imams from his family, then all other problems will be taken care of in the right way. The desires of the heart, the desires and the needs of the belly and the private parts will be resolved in the right way automatically. And so the key to solutions, especially when we are talking about helping our young boys and girls to enter into adulthood and make right decisions for themselves, is to make sure that their mindset is anchored with our spiritual values. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali bin Abi Talib, our first Imam, in advice to his son, he emphasized this point of zikr and taqwa. Taqwa means consciousness of Allah's presence in our life. For example, he says to his son, I advise you to have the consciousness of Allah, O my child, to abide by His commands, to fill your heart with the remembrance of Him, and to clinch to hope from Him. No connection is more reliable than the connection between you and Almighty God, provided you hold on to that connection. And so, when you are talking about age 15, remember that your child has already started high school, and then they will go on to the college or the university. At that stage, most of us as parents, we worry about the clothes and the supplies that they will need at the new school. We also worry about how they will fit in that new environment, especially when we know that the teachers in high school are no more in control. They are not that much strict as they were in the elementary school. And so they are going into a new environment. And so we actually worry about many things. We worry about their supplies, their clothes, their shoes. But besides all these mundane items, the most fundamental school supply for our children in high school and college years is taqwa and the connection to Almighty God. As Imam Ali says that no connection is more reliable than the connection between you and Allah, provided you hold on to it. And so we have to realize that, taqwa, this consciousness of Allah's presence in our life, that is the mindset which is going to, guide our youths and our children in the right way. And that is the key to all other problems. We cannot look at issues in isolation and separately and individually. The key to all these problems that the youth face in their life at that stage from 15 to 21 is this issue of the mindset. What is their mindset? Is their mind, anchored in this element of taqwa or not? Almighty God, for example, in chapter 8 of the Quran, verse 29, He says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِن تَتَّقُوا اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ فُرْقَانًا. Almighty God says that if you acquire the taqwa, the consciousness of God, He will grant you the insight, the furqan, the ability to distinguish between what is right and what is wrong, what is proper and what is improper. There is another verse also, if you go to chapter 65, verse 2 and 3. There God says that if you really acquire this consciousness of my presence in your life, I will find a way for you in your difficulties. And so, as Amir al-Mu'minin emphasizes this point of taqwa, Allah has guaranteed to us in the Quran that with taqwa you get the insight to know what is right and what is wrong. With taqwa, God will find ways to take you out of the difficulties and the problems that you see in your own life. So, when we talk about a young person's mind, if it is connected to Almighty God, he will be helped in the best of ways. And for example, if you look at the life of Zainab, salawatullah alayha, the daughter of Amir al-Mu'minin, it was this element of taqwa which stayed with her till the last moment. Especially when we look at her sermon given in the Darbar of Yazid, the way she talks about the long-term effects of taqwa. She was married to a very affluent person, but when the time came for her to give the sacrifice for the sake of the Imam of her time, for the sake of her faith and her religion, she was very easily willing to sacrifice whatever she had. And that is where, the issue of taqwa comes up. You can be surrounded with luxuries. You can be surrounded with immoral environment. But if you have taqwa, you know what is the right decision that you should take. Let me talk about 2 or 3 issues related on a practical level about our youths. Number 1 is the issue of attendance at the mosque. I hear from many parents, they complain that, my child now goes to the high school, and because they have, lots of homework, therefore, they cannot attend the weekly Thursday night programs or Friday prayers or other religious functions. And homework becomes the main issue that, they get so much homework in high school and college and university. We have to realize that as parents, we actually have to help our children, the young children, the youths, how to manage their time in such a way that they do their homework and their assignments, as well as they are able to participate in religious programs. You know, we are very fond of talking about time management. Why don't we do that in our own personal life? You know, if I as a parent know that tonight, let's say, is a Thursday night program, for example, or there is a special program today, you know, I can actually prepare my children from day before that, you know, okay, tomorrow there is a special program, we have to go there, so, you know, change your schedule and make sure that you have done your assignments and homework before it. Or arrange it in such a way that they can come later on and complete that. And this is an important issue. And I'm talking from my own experience. I've seen how my wife, you know, has guided my children. All my children were born in Canada. And we were able to balance, you know, the demands of the high school level or even university level and the issue of participation in religious events. So this is something which can be done. It's actually the issue of the mindset. If you really think about it, you will be able to find the solution to the problems. Many times, you know, we talk about the issues. For example, the children also go to early morning or after school extracurricular activities. You know, we can do that. Why can't then we find extra time and effort to bring our children for the weekly religious program? And this is what I'm saying, that if we have the will, we will be able to find the way. Another excuse, which I hear quite a lot on this issue, is that, you know, kids don't like the speaker, for example. Say the program at the mosque or the religious center is boring. And, you know, when they say, oh, because of that I do not want to come, the parents say, okay, then you stay home. My question to parents and the children both is that, do you like all your teachers in the school or the college and the university? No. You cannot tell me that all your teachers for all the subjects in high school or at the college and the university, you know, you like them. No, there would be some professors and lecturers and teachers who are boring in your view. You don't like it, but still you go. Why do you go? You go because you have given this priority in your mind to seeking of education. You know that if you don't have good education, you will not get the degree. If you don't have the degree, you will not be able to find good jobs. So you have set up a priority in your own mind. It is the mindset which is forcing you to attain the high school or the college or the university, even if you don't like the teacher. And this is where we have to, you know, basically make sure that the children realize that for us, it's not only this dunya. You know, I remember once I had attended a financial planning seminar in our center, and there was a financial expert who talked about the importance of, you know, saving money and investing for the retirement. So he had made a PowerPoint where he says the childhood, the working age, and then the retirement. He said in order to have a good retirement life, you need to save and invest during the time when you are working. When I looked at that chart, in my mind, you know, I extended that. It's not only the issue of retirement for us as Muslims. You know, for us, we have this, the hereafter, the akhirah. And we have to prepare for that also, not only for our retirement. So when we look at our life, and if we can, you know, help our children to realize that the ultimate goal for a Muslim is to have a blissful life in the hereafter, not only in this world, not only the job in this dunya and the retirement in this dunya, rather we also have to prepare for the hereafter. That is where we will see that the priorities in the mind of our children will change. And then you will see that they will be able to balance their you know, schedule as far as their homework and assignment and education, as well as the religious activities in the community. Then you will see that the balance would be there, and your vision will broaden, and you will see that they will gain the good of this world as well as the hereafter. You know, let me end with a discussion about what I had read last year in a special issue, the winter's issue of this Sociological Quarterly of the United States of America. And there was a survey which is very interesting about students attending the church. And according to that survey, and let me read the exact words, it says, researchers found that church attendance has as much effect on a teen's GPA as whether the parents earned a college degree. So they are saying that, you know, if the parents have a college degree, then the chances of the child's GPA increasing will increase. But they say also, if they attend the church, their chances also will go up for raising their grades. Students in grades 7 to 12 who went to the church weekly also had lower dropout rates and felt more a part of their schools. So we have to realize that, you know, attending the church or attending the mosque is not going to take your child away from the progress in secular education. I think they will grow and become stronger, you know, in their faith, in their values, as well as in their education. And so remember, the main message that I have for the third stage of raising a child is to raise the child in such a way that in their mindset, the priorities they are anchored according to the values of our faith. If that is there, they will achieve the highest levels of education as well as higher levels of spirituality. They will have the good of this world as well as the hereafter. And that is the ultimate success that each one of us is striving for. May Almighty God bless all of us, and to us who are parents, may He give us the courage, the wisdom, and the insight to raise our children as good Muslims and good citizens of the society. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Islam in Focus is brought to you by Gala Travels. For all your travel needs, call Gala Travels at 416-491-5314 or visit galatravels.com. Islam in Focus is brought to you by PortServe International Limited, providing cargo handling services internationally. Please visit portserve.com. Islam in Focus is brought to you by Five Ways Financial, free consultation at no obligation. Visit fiveways.com. Islam in Focus is brought to you by eShipper.com, allowing its customers to ship and save on all shipping requirements.
It's yet another day, feeling all alone. Without your presence, I just can't go on. My eyes are searching for you everywhere. After the end of the Friday prayer, O son of Hassan, my beloved Imam, of the talking Quran, accept my salam. O light of Allah, you are our true guide. We're waiting for you to be by your side. O light of Allah, you are our true guide. We're waiting for you to be by your side. Allah Jalla, Allah Jalla, Allah Jalla, Allah Jalla, Ya Mawla. Allah Jalla, Allah Jalla, Allah Jalla, Allah Jalla, O Master. Allah Jalla, Allah Jalla, Allah Jalla, Allah Jalla, Ya Mawla. Allah Jalla, Allah Jalla, Allah Jalla, Allah Jalla. The darkness of lies and deceit has penetrated through my heart. Satanic forces of the world have swayed me from the right path. I feel that I've forgotten what the Prophet has taught us. My heart is full of worldly